And we are live. We are live. How's it going, guys? How's it going? I have with me here Pragmatic Monkey. We're going to get into a formal introduction. I just met him 15 seconds ago, so I don't even have the introduction. Thanks for coming on, though, sir.
My pleasure, really. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So I figure while people are coming in, just wanted to pull up some news and chat about that for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll get into all things Rujira, which I'm incredibly excited to talk about. So mostly, and what's up, Captain Sparrow? So you're already in here. Also, guys, if you are in here already, please do hit the like button, share this around on Twitter or YouTube, wherever it is that you are watching this, so we could get more people in here, spread awareness for Rujira, Thorchain, the whole ecosystem. Peter, what's up, Peter? Nice to see you in here. But so first, just to kind of kill a couple minutes, we got some news. Did you see this on some of the stuff that Trump is signing in? So we got the right to write and deploy software. I think that's both privacy and regular, which is awesome. Promote stablecoins and Operation Choke Point, provide regular, and this one I think is massive, and CBDC. But I actually don't know. Where are you located?
Oh, so I'm, despite a very strong French accent, I'm based in the UK. So I'm not directly affected by that, but no, they are amazing news. Super happy to see that. I'm discovering at the same time as you. And at the end, the US is pretty much the rest of the world. So if things goes well there, other country will align, and that's super bullish for our industry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
The first one for me is a big one as well.
It's huge, yeah. And I know I thought you were from the UK, and I know you guys got some privacy. You guys have strong privacy in some aspect. It's like an acronym, like PB something, or like some sort of bill. Maybe it's the European Union or something. It's like data privacy. Right?
Oh, I know GDPR. That's the European Union. Yeah. That's crap, man. It's completely stupid. It's just like trying to prevent a company from spying on you, but you always end up just clicking yes. And I mean, it's stupid. Trying to enforce stuff in Web 2 doesn't work. You need a blockchain to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, like you said, hopefully this spreads to the UK and the rest of the world. This and the CBDC thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we've got 33 people watching right now. It's been a couple minutes. I think we can hop into it. You can also watch the replay, obviously, if you want to. So Pragmatic Monkey, his Twitter, go and give him a follow. 2,500 follows, which is criminally low for Pragmatic Monkey. Okay, so go and give him a follow for Rujira updates, all this kind of thing. Says here, DeFi tokenomics, decentralized governance, pragmatic, contributing to Rujira Network and Manta DAO. So I guess, what is your official position sort of for Rujira Network?
So maybe I start by giving a bit more of a background on how I ended up there, and then I can extend the position. So my background is in traditional finance. I spent the first 10 years of my life doing M&A advisory and then private equity. So very much different from DeFi. I got introduced to cryptocurrency back in 2016. At that time, I was in investment banking, and you had very strict regulation on what you could or could not trade. You would have to go through a compliance department and other things. It was very, very not practical. And then my best friend told me, who is a proper like a software engineer, very geek, told me about this stuff called Ethereum, and I knew already a bit about Bitcoin, and I found it very interesting. So I opened an account at Kraken, and what I loved is at the time nobody cared about this stuff, so I could trade it just away, without asking for any permission. And so that's how I got my interest started. As many people, just trying to make some money trading. And then that was so March 2016. Then we had it was pretty much a dead market for a year, and I wasn't doing much. And then 2017, we had this first, second or third, I think it was second bull run for Ethereum. and all the crypto market. And it started to go very, very crazy. And we went from like $7-8 to a top at 1,400, if I recall correctly. It was just amazing. So I started to trade on leverage on a centralized exchange, and made a ton of money on the way up, and lose it all on the way down.
Oh no.
So no, it was okay. Like after the dust settled, I was like, okay, first, this stuff is very interesting in terms of what you can do with it. I was following. So I loved Ethereum. It resonated much more with me at the time because as a person in traditional finance, I could see all the I could see all the inefficiency and stuff that doesn't work. It also applied to Bitcoin and to how the general monetary system is completely rigged and and very much broken and working for just a few people who are close to the money printer or already on asset, and to the detriment of the rest that get diluted. But on top of that, like the concept for me so I remember at the time, you had the Uniswap V1 that was one of the very first projects. So I started to do some LPing there, and I was fascinated. I was like, wow. So you are telling me that those two guys in with no funding went to hackathon and built this stuff, and this allows like potentially an infinite amount of capital to be traded, and it allows anyone to be a market maker, and it's completely make irrelevant the entire floor that was. So I was just above the trading floor, like it was a huge floor with several hundreds of people working there just doing trading and market making. And this little software was making all of that completely redundant, but it was also allowing everybody to participate and effectively get a share of the juicy business that is making market in any sort of paired assets. Right. So just love that. It piqued my interest. And then the second lesson I got was that's okay. There is a ton of volatility, so there is money to be made. But okay, if I want to do to make money, I will need to have a bit more structure and a bit more rules. So I started to learn about algo trading and teach myself a bit of coding, just what I needed. So I'm not a software developer, not at all, but I can code like trading logic in a given sandbox environment. And so I started to do that for fun. At the time, my interest was mostly in quantitative trading, automated trading, and that was fun. Allowed me to, despite having a very demanding job in terms of hours, not still like participate in those markets. And then when 2020 arrived and we had the DeFi summer, everything went crazy, and at the time, like you could make triple-digit APR being degen on Sushi Swap and this type of stuff. And so I was like, wow, okay, this is really big, and the type of return I can make there. So DeFi is like, it's becoming something. TVL went from like I think was staggering at below 50 million for a very long time, and then it went to billions in a crazy amount of record of time. And so I started to go much more into DeFi. And eventually in 2021, end of 2021, I decided to quit my job, very comfortable career in finance, and just go to be a full-time on-chain degen. And so that was the beginning. And so the edge I have is just I was there from early on, so I could see how all those protocols evolved and how things are doing. And my background in finance helped me with doing simple stuff, but like financial modeling and just trying to understand the mechanic a bit of it. And given like how everything was working out at the time, how the level of degenness we had, it was it was really helping to make a bit more consistent return. And so that was what I was doing. At the time, there was an ecosystem called Terra, which was great because it has a lot of different financial innovation. You could do a lot of very interesting stuff. And I liked data neutral strategy. And it was a protocol called Mirror, where you had synthetic stocks, where you could have basically make 30-40% APR without taking price exposure. So it was great. So I had quite a bit of capital in this ecosystem, a bit over like 10% of my entire portfolio. And it was also a very, very cool project I love there, which was called Rujira, and which allowed you to bid on a liquidated collateral on Anchor protocol. And that was great because for me, that was exactly what DeFi was all about. Like it was democratizing access to all sorts of opportunity, and LPing was one. But one market that was very important and very non-accessible, just usually people who run lending protocols are the one running the bots, or you need to be like very tech savvy to do it. Yeah. And liquidation happens at a fixed price, which means like there is no competition and people get liquidated and they pay probably more than they should in a competitive market. And then came in Rujira, and you could have a Dutch auction process that allow you to bid on at-risk collateral. And because you have this bid auction, it means that you get competition, which means it reduces the cost of liquidation for people who get liquidated, and it allows everyone to participate. So I was a big fan of it. It was very different from anything else. A lot of the projects at the time were like mostly DEX, IMM, and money markets and stable coins, but nobody was doing that. So I kind of fall in love with this project from the very beginning. And then the collapse of Terra happened. And of course, like so I had a lot of capital blocked into smart contracts, and the chain was not functioning anymore, so I could not get it out when UST started to depay. So what I did is, by the time I could get out a part of my capital, UST was at around 9 cents. So I was like, okay, either I take 9 cents on the dollar, and that's a big loss, or there was this little project called Rujira, which I knew the team was going to continue to pursue because they were doing everything in the open, and they had mentioned that they will do one way or another something else. So I kind of, with whatever fund I could salvage, went and bought like Kuji, as much Kuji as I could. And because everybody was trying to leave Terra, the price was depressed in UST term, but 1 UST was still 1 UST. So it was a very low point in the price and in UST, and dollar value it was very low, but with UST it was like just like if it wasn't debate. So I bought some, I mean as much as I could. I'm no mega whale, by the way, but for my portfolio, the size of my portfolio, it was quite big. And then it did not miss. Like 3 months later, Hans, which is an incredibly brilliant mind and an amazing coding machine, relaunched an entire new chain built with Cosmos SDK. And that was the new version of Rujira, which was a much more extended scope. Orca, the liquidation protocol, was still part of it, but you had also a fin and other book DEX, which they had actually launched on Terra the day before the collapse, and then a full suite of other products. All of that, which we are now bringing, by the way, to Rujira. Right. But so that's what happened. I became like the biggest position in my portfolio. And I started to get much more involved, like day in, day out. It led me like one of the biggest issue I identified with the chain. They had an incredible technology, but there were very little liquidity. Like the Cosmos already was very small in terms of TVL if you compare to other chain. Everybody competing one against another to try to get the same people just rotate from one app chain to another. And so it was very challenging, Rujira being a small chain overall in this small ecosystem, to get liquidity. So I got more and more involved in, from the start was another dev that started Manta DAO, but I got involved from day one, and for me the vision was really clear. We could act effectively as market makers on fin order book DEX, and had a very clever model, like it was a product, multi-op router for swapping from any token to any token on the order book that generated fees from day one, like very clean tokenomics, just an airdrop, no token sales, no team allocation, nothing. So everybody could participate, and it was no dilution coming from anyone, VCs entering early or whatever. So I loved the concept. And it was a fee generating product from day one. So it has cash flow, which meant we could start to sell the token to raise capital, because the token had cash flow, it has some floor, a fundamental value. 100% of the revenue was distributed back to stackers. And doing that meant that effectively we could build some position, market making position in some tokens, which would add liquidity to Rujira, which will increase effectively the total fees, the total volumes that the order book decks could facilitate, and the fees for RUJI stackers. So it was very much aligned, very nice pieces of puzzles going one into another. And so I started to be very much involved in that, but also started to be more and more working closely with the Rujira team and with Hans in particular. And then that was it for pretty much, that was mostly of 2023 and 2024. And then when the big liquidation cascade happened in August, July, last day of July last year in 2024, which is what triggers the whole situation with GP and all that. At this point in time, so there were the team, the Rujira team, core Rujira team was always just 3 people, Hans with the key developer doing all the smart contract work and all the backend, Brett, which is a genius in terms of UI and UX, doing very, very good stuff. And it was Dov, who was doing pretty much everything non-code related. And so Dov had to go after the collapse. And effectively, I was speaking with Hans, and they asked me if I could come and try to help just clean up the balance sheet effectively and yeah, keep going wherever we could. And I was already like so super involved. Like, of course, for me, it was not even a question. And so I effectively joined the team to from that point to try to first clear the bad debt. So at this point in time, we had like around 3 million of bad debt, net bad debt in the system. So we had to raise some emergency capital. This is when we got introduced to GP, thanks to Mark from Denmark. We did the first raise of around 3 million that GP backstops. And then shortly after that, initially the plan was that we will continue on just doing what we are doing, but on a Torchain app layer. But then GP came back, and he has always like a lot of ideas, and he was like, no, we need to do something bigger, and let's do a merger, and I want a new token. And so that's how RUJI came into life. So we came back with this new deal structure with not just 1, but 5 projects involved, including Levana, but also Wink, which was a project on Rujira having an NFT marketplace. It was another one called Unstack, which was effectively the Rujira team that launched it. So we took it back inside, and it's also part of the merge. And it was a project called Fusion, which had a joint venture with Rujira, effectively with pilot launchpads, which will relaunch as RUJI Venture, which are a project to raise capital and do all sorts of cool things very easily. And so that has been pretty much the journey from the beginning to now. And my role, because that was your original question, so I took a bit of a tangent.
Oh, you're good.
Effectively, so I'm not a developer, but I help with effectively anything that is non-dev related from pretty much everything from badging the project, trying to come up with some whatever when we take this strategic direction, write articles, all this merge stuff. So the stacking models, these kind of things. But my real, I would say, core competency is really on the financial part. So I try to help Hans as much as I can in thinking about the mechanics of the protocols and how to design certain strategies. For example, lately I've been thinking a lot about delta neutral strategy and how we can help a Torchain base layer delivered without losing liquidity on the base layer pool, and how we can create some strategies that will allow to do that and get rid of the savers, replace that with something else, and awesome. Make the dual LP kings again on the base layer. And yes, so the all real sort of things, but really and treasury management, of course, is also like a key part. I was doing that at Manta DAO, and Manta DAO is also going to move to the app layer, and that's going to be one of the big user and big provider of liquidity eventually of the app layer, at least in the early day, and hopefully like we'll have a ton more of capital coming from all over the place over time. But initially, that's going to be one of the key awesome. Power users.
Okay. Well, actually, because I do want to ask, I have a question specifically about like liquidity depth and how that might factor in. So your background isn't really with the coding side of that. So are you pretty, can you explain some of the technical stuff if I were to ask you some high level
No,
stuff?
normally, like in terms of mechanics, you can. I'll let you know if I don't know, but
Okay.
please go ahead.
Because I saw this from Mark from Denmark, right? Crypto is about to see a 0 to 1 moment. And usually, I would consider something like if smart contracts as a 0 to 1 moment, and Bitcoin itself was probably 0 to 1 moment in terms of like money and this kind of thing. So he's saying, and then he's alluding to this Rujira roadmap. So I thought what we could do is kind of just go through some of these apps, and then just, I suppose, as I have questions in chat, also chat if you've got any questions. Also, you've got some fans. PM is the GOAT. Soda is here too. Nami Protocol in here as well. Yeah, chat, if you guys have any questions, please do ask them as we go through here. But so we've got the merge starting on February 27th, if you're watching this and didn't know that. So there's a 30-day period, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, PM.
Correct.
That you'll be able to merge 1-to-1, but then after that, there's going to be a 12-month, like, sort of decay
function.
And then that benefit, if you stay in the merge pool, then all of that decay goes to that pool. So if you stick in there, you could get more on the merge than just a 1-to-1.
Exactly. All the tokens that don't merge at all, some will not merge, or merge but late, are effectively redistributed over time. And the more you wait, the more the decay increases. And
does that get paid out at the very, very, very end? Like if I was to merge and stay in the pool for 6 months, but then just leave and not stick it out to the end,
you will get your pro rata share after 6 months.
Okay.
When you leave. But it's a one-way ticket. That's important to note. So it means if you get out, you cannot get in again.
Okay. No, that's kind of actually.
There is no lock. Like it's really like you can come and get out on day one if you want, or you can stay. And as long as you stay, you earn a share of the rewards.
Okay. So there might be some strategies there for people that might think, sticking out, maybe staying in the pool for the first 3 months gets an added benefit, and then the diminishing return fades, and then they take it out and whatever. So there's going to be some games played.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game theory. Effectively, what you can do with your RUJI, you have an alternative, which is stacking to get a share of the protocol revenue. So we have like 100% of the protocol revenue goes to stackers. However, like there is a 50-50 split with some nuances, but effectively with store chain based layer. But you can get your share of the 50% by stacking your RUJI, and either you have two options for stacking, by the way, either single-sided or stacking with the LP token, which will be Rune RUJI. And the interesting game theory is as you stay in the merge contract, but as we scale the protocol, we increase fees, the stacking reward become more interested. So then some people who want to get out to stack, which means the people who stay get a bigger share of what is left, and so that's where it starts to become interesting.
That was going to be my question: is if you stay in the merge pool, do you get a share of the revenue still? Sounds like no. You have to take it out and stake it. Okay,
yeah, exactly. That's the interesting part. Like,
okay, cool. Really, that should be fun. It should be interesting to see what people do here. So yeah, that's coming up. So in Q1, RUJI is going to be live, and then that's when the games really start. So with some of these dApps here, let's see. I get one question I did before we get into the dApps. How are you feeling about the current? So I've been thinking a lot about Hyperliquid. It's a buzz on Twitter. A lot of people are talking about it, and it seems to be that the people what people think will separate RUJI from Hyperliquid is its ability to have a really good UI. I haven't seen any of the back end of any of that or any of the demos, but do you get a feeling it's going to be able to match some of the premium?
So I will only comment on the spot trading side, which is part of the Rujira team products, the former. And yes, that's absolutely like you will have all sorts of feature. You will have limit order and market order, but you will have also like a ton of opportunity to LP with different strategies, which increase over time. You will have a very, very nice, sleek UI. And we are going to build some capacity on top of that. Like we have a protocol called Rujira, which will provide take profit and stop loss, this kind of advanced features that really replicates the experience you have on a centralized exchange. And I think it would be very much at least at par with what you have on Hyperliquid, and hopefully much better. But I think the key Hyperliquid is a perpetual trading desk, so it's different. So then you should also get probably someone from the Levana team who are doing the product to get them to speak more about that. This is not my area of expertise, but on the spot side, it's gonna be very, very good. And the big difference, and that's very unique to Rujira, and that's only possible because we are built on top of Torchain, is that you will be able to trade all those assets from all those connected chain, including, of course, Bitcoin. You will trade the native assets. So you will have another book desk where you can trade Bitcoin, native Bitcoin, which effectively is secured by Asgard Vault on the Bitcoin side. So it's the same technology as what Torchain use anywhere else, and you can get a representation of this Bitcoin called secure assets, so secure Bitcoin, which is effectively the underlying is backed in a vault secured by 120 anonymous validators, nodes operators that churn every 3 days. So very, very high security model, much better than if you were on a centralized exchange and you were just trusting some database somewhere with zero visibility of who control what, and possibility of well, at the end it's very centralized, so you can have censorship or seizure. Here it's fully decentralized, it's 100% on chain, and you will be able to trade your Bitcoin in another book or any other native token in another book in one place. Solana, when we connect it, Ethereum, of course, or Doge, like all those connected chains, there are like 9 now, and all the assets that are issued on those chain natively, we can also have representation of those. So we can have like a very, very large number of native assets with the best security model, I believe, that exists in the space, all tradable without intermediaries.
Okay. So this, we got a question here from ICG Interchain Jerome. So perps won't be directly included in Fin.
No, it won't. The Levana team is building their own UI, and it will be a separate. I mean, it will be all the UI will be integrated, so you will have a single page with a banner at the top, and you can navigate between apps. But the perps apps will be a different one from the spot one.
So kind of like with Rujira, when you had at the top of the page, you could go to Fin, Bow, Ghost, or whatever. You could choose your. It's going to be like that. So
yeah, exactly.
You're going to have one page, and then you could switch between perps, order book, all the different apps. They're just on one spot.
Exactly, which is very much similar to the experience you have if you go on Binance. Like you have one either at the top, and you can
I for some reason that's awesome. I had just sort of thought that it was going to be different web. I guess maybe I'm used to Thorchain, where every single interface has its own different brand with its own different place to go. And I didn't really think about it in terms of one website.
Yeah, it's unified.
People working on different tabs for products within just the same. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's really one of the big differentiation of what we are building. Like if you are used to any EVM ecosystem or Solana, or like it's always it's a constellation of a lot of different apps, which is nice as well, which has some of its benefits. It's permissionless. Everybody can build and do their stuff and copy paste each other's code. And so it's also quite cool in terms of creativity, but you end up with a patchwork of very different stuff. You have to navigate from one side to another to do everything. Nothing is thought to be very deeply fully integrated, where if we go into those details, like for Rujira, it's going to be like very, I mean, the tech is beautiful. We can speak about it as we work through the apps. Yeah. And all of that is available in one single unified UI with a consistent branding and feeding, and that's one of the key differentiation. And you will be able to access that, of course, from your browser, web browser, but we'll also have like a mobile app. So we used to have one on Rujira. It's gonna become Station now, And this one mobile app will be just made like optimized to offer the best possible mobile experience across this whole ecosystem in one single application.
Awesome. I mean, that kind of a follow-up question there. Something I was trying to think of, like the pain points of this stuff. So I know Thorchain has got all the different native assets on there. What about wallet support though for some of this stuff? Are you going to be able to, for example, connect a MetaMask wallet or a Control wallet or a Phantom wallet and deposit native Sol into this? I mean, when Solana is integrated, I know it's not right now, but just an example.
So
would you be able to do that, or?
So you have two ways of accessing the base layer effectively, and we are still refining that. But you can access, like if you want to use MetaMask, if you start from Ethereum or a connected EVM chain, you could absolutely use MetaMask, and you will be able, like in one transaction, to do something starting from your MetaMask, and for example, like put a trade in the order book, or open a loan and get your payment like at ETH on the Ether blockchain. And in one transaction you sign, and you take a loan against your ETH and get USDC paid a few blocks later on Base, for example. And that's possible. And for certain use cases, it works well. In the backend, when you do that, effectively, your ETH, when you sign the transaction, your ETH are deposited in an Asgard vault. Secure assets representation is minted at the app layer. You use this representation as collateral, take the loan, and then the proceeds of the loan, USDC, are sent back to the destination chain you decided to have. So that's totally possible. It should also work for Phantom with when Solana is integrated. We haven't done that yet, so cannot confirm, but it should be the case. It will work if you are on the Bitcoin blockchain, the same, and you connect with your so the only wallet I know that where you can connect from a browser on Bitcoin is CTRL. So but you will be able to do that with your CTRL wallet. But then that may not give you the best user experience. It depends what you want to do. But for example, if you want to trade pairs, which are with a lot of leverage, so you want something that is very reactive, and if you Bitcoin has a block time of 10 minutes, something like that. So if you want to open a 20x long position on the app layer and you start from your Bitcoin wallet, sure, you can do it, but like you will have to wait 10 minutes for something for it to go through. And then if you sign the transaction from your Bitcoin wallet again to close your position while you are about to get liquidated, by the time it happens, you may be out already. So depending on the usage, the best use is probably to do it in two steps. First, you will take your Bitcoin and assign one transaction for your wallet to deposit them as secured assets on the app layer, and then from there use so the app layer an app layer compatible wallet. So it will be effectively using the Cosmos SDK. So it can be a Kepler, or I think CTRL is also a very good one, just because it connects to all those different chains, including Bitcoin and EVM chains. Mm-hmm. But Kepler is the one most of people know in the Cosmos know. So you can just use that, connect with that, and then you have like a very normal, like a very rapid iteration cycle. Your block time is the same as Thorchain, so it's around 6 seconds at the moment. And
and I think Strangelove I think JP has said Strangelove is trying to cut that in half, down to like 2 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's 6. It's gonna go down to 4, and the aim is to get them to 2, I believe. Awesome. So you will have like high reactivity, and then you have like a much more centralized exchange like experience.
I would really hope that if someone is starting from Bitcoin natively, they don't have the assumption that it's going to happen, that a trade would happen in 6 seconds. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully that's just general DeFi. They would get that, and that doesn't become confusing.
Yeah, no. I think Bitcoin Maxi will know that.
Yeah.
It will be up to us to do like a very good UI to guide people to do the right action depending on what they try to do.
That's actually a good point. That'd be cool if you start with native Bitcoin, there's just like a flag that says due to block times, just a quick like little
exactly. So that's it. That's just engineering the UI to make sure that people get the best experience and don't have bad surprise.
And everything we're talking about is supposed to be coming out and I do have a couple more on the dApps, but all this stuff I believe most of it is supposed to be coming out by the end of Q1, correct?
Yeah, most of it, yeah, by the end of Q1.
Okay,
Hans is a very, very efficient dev. He's
yeah.
incredible. And a lot of time was spent since effectively last summer to up to pretty much last month. Most of the time was spent to really trying to build this base layer, enable like the Cosmos first get connected, like upgrade TorChain to Cosmos SDK v50, then now trying to enable Cosmos and do a few other stuff like having the token factory and building the core UI elements as well from Brett and the connection with the wallet. All those infrastructure pieces we need. Now pretty much everything is ready. On DevNet, you can already deploy smart contracts. On mainnet, it's not yet possible because we need the next TorChain upgrade, version 3.2, which will enable. So we have SDK 50 already, but we don't have yet Cosmosm. It will be updated normally at the next upgrade, and from there we can start to deploy smart contract. And that's from that point of time, like now Hans is just starting now to really do the smart contract work. The other team have been doing a bit, but they were not having all the tools they needed. So from now, things are going to accelerate a lot. And now we can focus on the cool stuff and the fun stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking too, if a lot of this was already built over on Rujira, it sounds like if TorChain got upgraded and they're going to have the CosmWasm, that it should just kind of, I mean, not entirely, obviously, it's different.
Yeah. So we thought about that initially, but no, that's the beauty of it. We had an opportunity to rewrite everything, change so we learned for 2 years. We had very cool products, but there were also stuff that were not perfect, that could have been improved. But once you are live, it's become much more difficult to upgrade everything. And here we had this beautiful opportunity to take all the stuff we have learned for the past two years and a half and bring that, rewrite from scratch and fix, get rid of a lot of technical debt, fix all the things that we would have done differently, and just get a much better version of that. And that's what we have been doing. Like if we walk through the mechanics, for example, of Fin and Bo and how we virtualize the base layer pool, it's just it's next level. It's really next level, and just like how Fin acts as an aggregator of many sources of liquidity, like it's very, very elegant model.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's starting to get antsy and excited about it. You know what I mean? But, I think with the token and some of the other stuff, it'll be cool. All right. So what about, obviously, the hot narrative right now is AI agents. And I saw this on here. RUJI Agents has been introduced as a new core app with an initial version expected in March. Can you give any other... I mean, I know, right? I think we all get sort of the, a general idea of what they're going to do, but what specifically might you be able to do with a RUJI agent? And are they going to be available to like a normie that just
connects? So eventually, yes. So it's going to be phased. The version in March will be just a MVP, just to showcase a bit. But of course, the real stuff will come a bit later. It takes a bit of time to write, but let me take a step back here and tell you a bit. So we had this off-site in London last week, and a few people from the Multisig team were there as well, and that's where really all the three pieces started to click together for me. So we have effectively three core pillars around the Rujira TorChain and this project. And so the first one is, of course, TorChain. TorChain provides this deep liquidity and these cross-chain capabilities. It allows us to connect from any connected chain and do all those actions and have support for native assets. So that's really the core of the machine. Then you get Rujira, the app layer, which has smart contract capabilities, which allow us to do all those cool and fancy stuff that you could never do directly on TorChain base layer without putting the system at risk. And that's what we have learned recently with the story about the loans and the savers. And so we can move all of this and much more on the app layer. And we can, for the first time in history, access a cross-chain DeFi with native assets directly on the app layer. And that's big. your Bitcoin won't be a wrapped Bitcoin or something issued by Coinbase or by BitGo. It will be like a native Bitcoin secure by Torchain. That's very cool. And then you have a third leg of that, which is Multisig. And what Multisig provide is a new security model. And what they do effectively is, from a user perspective, they allow to abstract away the concept of a private key. And instead of having to store your private key and you lose it, you are done. You can have like those vaults that are made of shares, like you have 2-3 shares, and you can back up those shares in different places. And that means you can effectively get back your wallet if you lose one of the shares. As long as you have 2 more remaining, you can always get back your private key. So that's a very good way, a good user experience. It removes the risk of losing your private key and allow you to restore it if you use part of it. So that's very nice in itself. But where it gets very powerful, and for me that was really like when I understood that, I was like, okay, nice. Is that's great for humans. That's even better for machines, for agents, because at the moment you have a big issue with agents to give them the capability to perform on-chain actions. What you are forced to do is to hand over a private key. And that means that this private key is stored in a server somewhere, and it's a big honeypot, and you just need one mishandling of security, and somebody can take control of your funds. And it's perfectly fine if you are playing with pocket money, but you can't really envision a system where you will scale AI agents to very large portfolio and have their private key stored in some centralized server somewhere. And Multisig allow you to effectively create a vault for an agent. So the agent's wallet is a vault, and you can make it a vault with 2 shares, and the agent control 1 share, and you control the other share. And that means that nobody, even if the share controlled by the agent is compromised, nobody can take the private key and nobody can seize the funds. That's super powerful. And then you can have like flexible models. You can have an agent that require you, for example, is not fully autonomous. So you have to, it tells you, you get an alert every time you want to do something, but you have to sign on your side to confirm the action. Or you can create an agent that is fully autonomous and have the second share of the key store in a different place, but not by the agents. And have the agents perform all sorts of things by himself. And so you get those 3 pillars: Torchain for liquidity and cross-chain capabilities, Rujira for all the app layer, all the app stuff, all the smart contracts for doing DeFi and much more, and Multisig for the securities. And then you have this AI agent layer at the bottom of it that links those 3 pillars together and that allows to create a new economy, agent-based economy that can do all of sorts of things cross-chain and in a very secured way, thanks to Multisig technology. So it's very unique. Nobody else can offer such a comprehensive framework. And we will have a ton of tools to also welcome, once it's time, new developers, and it will make it like very easy with also little software development kits effectively to build on top of this ecosystem and contribute, and it's gonna be epic. And eventually, so coming back on the AI agent, so the first version of it will be probably like a very simple interface where you will be able to chat with the bot, and given the first product that goes live is Fin with limit order, you will be able to, for example, like ask him to put a limit order, check the price, cancel your order, move the price, but it will be fairly simple, but already it's quite cool. And then the longer term view is we are going to have to, so we'll work with probably we start with the ELISA framework, so we can connect a bunch of others, like attract other builders that are doing that and build plugins to allow ELISA to do all sorts of things on the network. And then, so there is this protocol called Rujira, which will be building all sorts of prepackaged actions for the agent to be able to use to do more advanced strategy, but not by themselves, by following very certain patterns to avoid what we call the AI hallucination. That's Daniel Sesta wording. It's a risk, like if you just prompt text to an AI, ask it to do stuff, and it can sign transaction. There's a very, very high probability that something will go wrong. So what you want is to provide a lot of different Lego pieces that the AI can use, but use very safely. And then we can have a system where effectively we have all those predefined actions. On top of that, you have this AI agent, the first layer, that can do certain things that are specialized in certain type of stuff. Like one may be doing research, one may be posting on Twitter what he's doing, and another will be doing the DeFi actions. And then you can add one extra layer, which is an orchestrator agent that speak with the other agents. And then from this little UI interface, instead of you directing, just doing the action, saying, oh, I want to do that, and then the agent prompt transaction to you and you sign. So that's step one. Now you will be able to prompt to an orchestrator agent what you want to do. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give you $1,000, and I want you to only trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I want you to never risk more than 1% of your capital, and you can use the X and Y product, and like you can give all sorts of parameters, and then you let the agents run, and either you make it like fully autonomous, or you have to validate each actions. But that's eventually what's coming, I think. And then we just keep adding more and more stuff little by little that the agent can do. So expand the library of possible actions, and that's where the fun is going to begin. And then maybe I can touch on RUJI leaks. So at some point,
hold on. Oh, yeah. So the RUJI agents sound like trading bots in a way that. Right, kind of.
I mean, much more than that. Like you can use it to trade, but you can also like use it to post on
Twitter,
on Instagram, on Twitter, like whatever. Like
wow.
you can really create.
I don't want to gloss over it, because I feel like that could be a pretty, like, I was trying not to let my grin be too big while you were describing that. But you're right about the no private key thing with multi-sig. I've experimented with that. It's kind of mind blowing. Like once you try it, you're almost like you feel like something's missing almost, kind of, if you're used to having to write down a seed phrase, and then it's kind of unsettling. And then after a day or two, and then what actually happened for me was I had to go on a trip. And I remember one time I went on a trip and I had everything on me because I was too afraid to leave it at the house. And like I was like, I can't lose this coat, right? Thank God I didn't get bugged. It was super scary, not gonna lie, for like 4 days. And then I tried this multi-sig, and then I had to go on a trip, and I was like, I'm not worried about this at all. Like, it was so much easier to just leave and do stuff and not have to worry about the private key.
No, it's amazing. Like, it's really changed a lot of things in terms of obsecs as well. It's very good.
Okay, so these AI agents, it's going to be an agent layer, because I saw JP make a tweet also where he said they're going to democratize ARB bots. Because right now, the only people I know that are running arbing pools are people that know code and do that kind of thing. And I've always wanted to arbitrage, but I don't know how to do that side of things. So that's kind of, is that an AI agent thing too?
Well, eventually, like, so that's the thing. You could, if you just instruct an AI agent to do that, it's possible, but it's risky. Like, you don't know with the current state of AI agents, if you just say to an agent, hey, take my capital and do some arbitrage between this chain and this chain, it's going to be difficult. But if we add plugins, effectively, that tell exactly how the agent, when there is an arbitrage, and how to capture it, then the agents can do it. And we are going to democratize access to arbitrage. That's I mean, I don't know what GP was referring to, but I suspect he was referring to the way we are going to virtualize liquidity from the base layer into the app layer, which work with a sort of arbitrage. So it depends how you define arbitrage effectively, because a real arbitrage is a transaction where you cannot lose money, where you don't take any risk. Here it's an arbitrage, but you still take a bit of risk on a few blocks, price risk. So we can go into the detail of that. Maybe it's better for another video. We have done like a long session with Chris from Grassroots Crypto yesterday. He's gonna publish a video that explains a lot about it.
I think I was referencing like a market maker pool or something.
Yeah, exactly. Passive market maker, which will be, so effectively we'll have ton of strategies, but one of the very first one will be this arbitrage strategy, which allows to simulate, to replicate the liquidity that exist on the base layer into the app layer, and effectively looking at quotes based on the liquidity on the base layer, we'll be able to offer on the app layer pretty much the same price plus a little profits, which allow to have like atomic transactions. So be able to do stuff within a block and continue to do several actions, like if we are doing that on the base layer. And then this passive market maker will be able to, for example, take your, you want to sell ETH, it buys the ETH from you, it gives you, against those ETH, it will borrow USDC to give you the USDC. And then at the end of the block, because on top chain, all the swap on the base layer happen at the end of the block, it will sell the ETH, get back very shortly after, whenever the trade is executed, some USDC, and then use those USDC to pay back the loan. And it's just need to capture a small margin and hope that the price doesn't move too much, and it will make money. You just need to calibrate the margin at the right level, and maybe some, that's the arbitrage, and maybe some arbitrage are not profitable, but over the long enough period, most should be profitable, and you will make money. It's just a matter of setting the parameter right. And so that everybody will be able to be a LP in this pool. It's a single-sided, I mean, you will have many of those, but there will be a single-sided deposit pool, and you can come. It's one of the many different sources of yields we'll be providing for single-sided assets. And you will have a protocol on top of that called NAMI that will build an equivalent of Saber that allows you to don't even have to pick between that, but automatically allocate the capital optimally to give you the best risk-adjusted yield on a single-side deposit.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to that. Let me ask you real quick, because I know it's kind of late where you're at. How are you on time?
No, I'm good. No worries at all. I'm cool. I can stay as much as you want.
I've got like 3 main things then that I wanted to get to. One has to do with marketing plans. So what is I know that there's RUJI leagues potentially coming up, and then is there any room for an airdrop or anything like that? Like, how are you guys going to incentivize people outside of our little Thorchain Rujira bubble? How do we bring people from Solana or Ethereum or wherever to come and try this out?
Okay, so let me tell you a bit about RUJI League. So we are gonna go do this very cool competition. You will be able to, based on your on-chain actions, earn points. We want to, we are very much about aligning incentive in the right way. And so what we want to incentivize effectively with on-chain action is economic activity on the chain and revenue to RUJI stackers. So if you look at the point campaigns up to that point across the ecosystems, it's very difficult to measure exactly the fees accrued by a user. And because you have also, if you look at the EVM world, like Arbitrum, Optimism, they have been doing this type of campaign, but it's a constellation of many different apps, all work differently, and there is no value accurate to a unique token. So you can't really do an accurate accounting of how much value a user generates and reward the user accordingly. On Rujira, we will be able to do that. We'll be able to track every single transaction of every user, and every time you pay a fee, the more you effectively do stuff where you pay fees, because that's what we do when we use blockchain, the more you generate value for the network, the more points you earn. So you get back some capital from what you put in, hopefully more. And so we are going to gamify that. We will have this point system, and for at least 2 years, but probably we have planned to make it sustainable forever, potentially. But we will start to distribute a share of the supply that will be allocated to RUJI League, and people will be able to come join the league. So you will have to stack a bit of RUJI to participate. And then once you are there, you will be running 6-week season. So you will be able to compete during 6 weeks. You will have a leaderboard. And at the end of each season, based on your ranking in the leaderboard, you will earn some RUJI, and you will have some of the RUJIs that are coming from just the chain revenue, because to participate, you need to stack some RUJI, sorry. But on top of that, we will top up, that will be the biggest part of the rewards, we'll top up with some share of the supply. So it's still TBD, but I think we could very much use 5% of the supply to distribute in form of airdrops effectively. But those airdrops, instead of being distributed as a one-off and create a ton of sales pressure. They will be earned by people who contribute value to the network, and they will be distributed over time. So it allows us to scale the network and growth and remove like any material sales pressure. And part of those rewards, we may also like just keep them actually and stack them. So maybe every season we distribute 70% as reward initially, and 30% we keep and stack. And those stacking rewards, the revenue generated from the chain goes into the reward pool as well. And every season we increase those 30%, and the more it goes, the bigger the share of RUJI stacked that generates revenue for the reward pool. And by the end of the 2 years, hopefully we have a self-sustained model where you get a share of RUJI supply that is stacked. If it's stacked with the RUJI LP, it's also making market deepening liquidity, which is a beautiful model. And it's generate continuous rewards for continuing this season system and having this gamified airdrop type of things forever.
Yeah, that's cool. My fear was potential, because I've seen that with a lot of perp dexes and this kind of thing where, you know, mercenary, liquidity pools, all of them, all these projects tend to do this. At the beginning, they give away the supply and then they have nothing left. And then everyone
exactly,
bails.
and then it drives away. Like it was, I even forgot the name, but it was two of those hyper liquid. Everybody speak about it, but it's the one example that's been super successful at doing that because they also had a great product. But most of the others have been doing that as soon as the airdrop was over. Boom, everybody left. It has been farmed to death, and they moved to the next Chinese thing. And so here we have like a potential to do something that's sustainable, even if initially we distribute reward to attract this activity and bring people into the ecosystem and bootstrap this revenue. After a while, the revenue is big enough to self-sustain and continue to distribute back to people who use the network. So it's that's a very beautiful model.
Okay, cool. And so that's the RUJI leagues in terms of a point system. Is there any potential that there might be some sort of airdrop to try to reach the just random groups? I don't know how that would work.
So you know, then we can tailor the rules. And for example, what we can do is give a bit of a multiplier. So we could do, for example, a targeted campaign for people on Solana and say, okay, this season, for anybody that bring capital, we'll be able to measure like capital inflow from Solana. If you inflow and you sign up for RUJI leagues, you will earn like 1.25x on your points. So you can do, you can really be very granular and do targeted marketing like that and really pay based on value contributed.
Okay. No, cool. Okay. I like it. Sounds it's better than it sounds like it's something that would work. And I like that you mentioned that it's sustainable. I was going to be bummed if it was going to be one of those just drop and kind of be bummed.
No, that doesn't work. I mean, it depends what you are here for. If your goal is to just create a super hype and then dump on your token holders and then move on, it's good to make a big airdrop and do that. But like we are here to build like the next generation of financial ecosystem. We build the DeFi rail for human and machines. We want to be here in 100 years, and even when human will be gone and it will be only AI, we want them to continue using the tool we built for them initially. That's the plan. So it has to be sustainable.
Okay. And then let's see, we're at about an hour. So just one more. What about this? Do you know anything about, so maybe not, but this Bitcoin backed stablecoin? I know that people they want a decentralized stablecoin that works. Is that something that's being developed? Like, how much do you know about what that might be?
I know quite well about it. So I have made some draft plan of what it could look like when we first had an interesting opportunity to discuss that with some big Bitcoin whales. So the idea of it, first, we had a design for that. Like technically, we could do it as a standard CDP model. We had USK on Rujira, which works the same way, except that it was composed of a basket of many different tokens. Here we have the opportunity to use a similar, like battle-tested CDP model, so like MakerDAO, if you wish. But big difference is this time, because we are built on top of Thorchain, we can use native Bitcoin and allow people to use their native Bitcoin secure via Thorchain TSS technology to mint a decentralized stablecoin So name still TBD, GPTs to UST. Some people really don't like it because it triggers some PTSD.
Yeah.
It could be USB. So let's see. But we can do the similar model with a few twists. Like I have some very cool idea on how we could make like a dynamic interest rates to incentivize people, like to try to keep the peg tighter than possible. Also maybe some revenue share with the LPs to make sure that there is very deep liquidity. Like we can do again like some self-sustained model and some dynamic models that just force market to react as we move away from a given wanted outcome. And so that's gonna come. Like this is a huge opportunity we have. Nobody else can do that because nobody else is really on top of Torchain, and we have to design for it. So it's really just once we get to it, I think it should be fairly quick to get in the ground running. Just trying to stick to the original plan first, and then that's step 2.
Okay. So would people be able to? Are they leveraging Bitcoin that they already have in an LP or maybe a Savers Vault on Nami or something like this? Or is this strictly there is a CDP sort of vault that they go to and they're just interacting with that one?
So we will have to think about that because if you start to, I mean, you can add reflexivity in the system, and it can add a lot of friction if you don't do things intelligently. And for example, one of the big products with single-sided deposit will be those delta neutral strategies, the ones that do delta neutral with assets on the base layer. They effectively provide liquidity on the base layer. So eventually, I think, and I believe it will replace most of the Savers vaults, which are like pretty much almost 50% in Bitcoin and ETH. 50% of the liquidity is in the form of, slightly less than that, is in the form of cents coming from Savers. If you replace that with actual native liquidity using the delta neutral strategy, you still have like a risk that if you use that then as collateral, effectively you are already, I mean, depending on how we build the delta neutral strategy, we have some compensation mechanism, but they will probably use some debt at some level to hedge the delta, to hedge the exposure to price. And depending on how we do that, and if we use actually a levered product as an asset to then mint another token, which is another form of debt. I mean, it's doable, but we have to be.
It sounds scary.
We have to be mindful. Like that's the thing.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I did have really just one more about RUJI predictions. I saw that because I remember the Poly market was huge for the election. But I don't know if you wanted to. Did you want to go into maybe some of that? Like share anything about?
So this one is also another product that will be built by the Levana team. So it will be a similar, like similar to a Poly market. Like effectively, you will be able to create to bet on any. I think it's only binary, so you will have only binary outcomes. But you will be able to bet on a wide variety of stuff. I leave it. Like you need to get Jonathan on the show. If you haven't been in touch with him, I'll connect you to him after we finish, and he will tell you everything about perps and predictions.
Is there so one more I got because I feel like it's important in terms of Hyperliquid. When you go there, they give you a red banner across the top about if you're located in X and Y jurisdictions, then this is blocked off to you. How do you guys and not to say that you're speaking for every, that's if it's one website with tabs across the top, so you're all kind of just in one spot. How do you guys feel about the regulations landscape that we're in right now? And are you guys going to be geo-blocking or any of that kind of thing?
So we are not planning to geo-blocks. I personally, I'm not planning. I'm against all form of geo-blocking. I believe humans are capable and intelligent people. It should not be the responsibility of any government or whoever is in power to decide what we can or cannot do. And I am totally not in agreement with having some form of geo-blocking, which anyway you can control. Like it's none of your business. If you don't want to use the product, don't use it. We're not forcing anyone. It's permissionless. It's decentralized and being built with on top of TorChain, which has this system of anonymous nodes, give us a lot of censorship resistance. And I hope that one of the good things with the new administration that is in place in the US is that we are going to have what you were showing earlier, more clarity and more freedom to do that without risking to end up in jail. So yeah, I'm definitely, I don't want to go to jail, but fuck people who try to regulate us and tell us what to do, what they are taking our taxpayer money to live a lavish life, and we are left diluted by the impact of central banking. That's not what we are here. And actually, we are here for the opposite of that, because the current system is broken and we can do better.
Awesome. So, glad to hear it. Super glad to hear that, to be completely honest. Okay, cool. So no geo-blocking. And then there was another quick one on that. No, are all these open source? Is the complete stack open source? I know Voltaisig and I know TorChain is for sure, but what about the Rujira dApps?
Yeah, everything will be open source. Like that was one of the conditions of GP. So everything will already, like most of the things are open source, and as we launch new products, everything will be audited and open source, and everybody can come and contribute to the codes. And yeah, if you want even to improve things or have ideas to add on top, you can come and do it. And if it's good, the PR will be accepted, and it will go through some governance system with TorChain. That's exact working is still TBD, but it will likely be something similar. And yeah, and then boom, your change gets into the system.
Sweet. Okay. Well, cool. I'll that's all I had. So go follow Pragmatic Monkey. Any closing thoughts? Anywhere you want people to go? Anything at all?
Well, it's just super excited by what is to come. I think we have something very unique. We'll be the only place when you can access DeFi with native assets. We will be able to do that for human and for machines. It's going to be a very one-of-a-kind type of things. I'm super excited, and we have a ton of cool stuff as well that will be available, like killers analytics and some very cool features. So not just at the application side, but on once you do all those things, how you eventually can see the performance of what you are doing and make better informed decisions. So yeah, ton of cool stuff coming, one step at a time, but we are getting there, and we are getting there fast. So super exciting time.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks. Thanks for coming on and having the chat. Maybe we could hopefully do this again in the future. And if you're still watching, thanks for watching. Thanks, PM.
Anytime. My pleasure. Take care. Bye.